Consciousness and Understanding. Channelings from Clyde Trepanier. Volume 4, continued. Sessions from June 1962. Wednesday, June 6th, 1962. It is my pleasure once more to come among you and to be in your vibrations. I wish to give special greetings to our new visitors here tonight. I do not believe I have had the opportunity or the privilege to speak to you before. It is my pleasure, I assure you. If you have a special subject that you would like me to share my understanding with you all, I shall be glad to attempt to do this. I believe the last time I spoke with you, I offered to do the same, and it seems that no one can think of a subject. I believe someone, the last time I spoke with you, mentioned that whenever I am asked a question, they receive a lecture. I assure you, my friends, I did not mean to do this, but perhaps I sometimes get a little carried away, shall we say, with my subject. No offense, no offense. I am sure you meant well what you said. Questioner: Yes, I did, because it's true after you get started on something. Then we want to interrupt you and not hear all you have to say. Source: Well, you know it is difficult sometimes to find just where to stop, because as you start going, you begin to think of so many things to cover that it is difficult. But my friends, if you have nothing in particular, I should like to elaborate a little more upon this great being said to you a few evenings back. He mentioned a foundation of your civilization and its weakness and its need for repair. Now, my friends, this is a very important thing in your civilization. For as all of you are well aware, great progress has been made in your material science, and it is increasing at an ever-increasing speed. And this is normal, of course, for as man's needs and his desires increase, his science will automatically increase. This is a law. For man will bring forth that which he has desires for and need for, you see. But there are 3 basic steps that man needs to be in balance. And so if his social, I believe this is the word, you will pardon me, sometimes I have to search somewhat for the words to express to you what I want to convey to you, so you will understand what I am saying. Your English language I find more difficult than any other that I have attempted to learn. So many of your words mean the same word I meant to say has so many meanings depending on how you use it. His ability to live together, to socialize, and then man's spiritual development. Understanding these are basic. For civilizations, in order to grow and to develop, must develop all 3 of these sciences. But in the case of your present civilization, this has not happened, you see. The social and the spiritual has not followed through. Therefore, the foundation has become weak, because the building is growing, getting bigger all the time. But the foundation is not being increased proportionately, you see. The important thing today is for Earthman to come into the realization of this, you see, because unless he realizes the weakness, the cure for his illness, he will go on until he destroys himself. Now this is what this being was referring to when he spoke of the crumbling foundation. The building is getting too heavy, you see, to carry it. It is very important today that your people realize this. It is very important that those who know of these things, who have the realization of the weakness of your civilization, try to help others to realize this. For you see, unless you take and face a situation, discover a cure, you are not going to accomplish anything. There is a great realization among your peoples today that they are facing a great danger. They can see your scientific development increasing to a point where it is endangering the civilization, but your masses do not know what to do about it. They do not know or realize where the weakness is, you see, and I feel, as I know many other ones feel, that once they realize the answer to a situation, they will begin to do something about it. It would be a great disaster to see another civilization upon planet Earth have to return to what you perhaps would call the caveman stage, and to make the climb again, when, with effort, it could be avoided. Other civilizations upon this planet faced the same situation, yet they were not able to conceive the answer, the remedy. Today, my friends, this is being stressed more and more by those of us who are trying so hard to help Earthman come into this realization. For you see, my friends, the time that man has to do these things is getting shorter and shorter, for your science is rushing onward faster and faster, while your other sciences are lagging farther and farther behind. I do feel that once man begins to see the answer, becomes clear to him, this situation will change. We do sincerely hope that those who realize and know these things will not, through their fear, lack of courage, their fear of criticism and all of the things that man must face when he attempts to do something of this nature, when he attempts to bring forth a new idea or a new discovery. For this, among your people, has always done these things to man. But man must have the courage to stand up and declare that which he knows to be true. As you are all well aware, the criticism, condemnation that has come upon almost everyone who has brought forth anything new in your civilization, for that is the way people have of fighting that which they do not care to investigate or to learn. They want to stay in the little circle that they have created around them, and anything that is beyond, that is not reality. That, my friends, is what he was referring to, and again, I have given a lecture on a small subject. Is there anything that I might be of help to anyone? We will take a few minutes. Perhaps I shall give another lecture. Questioner: can you suggest the best possible technique for meditation? Source: this, my friend, is something that requires a great deal of practice, a great deal of effort upon the part of the individual, you see. And I do not believe that anyone can set down a definite technique for another. For it is my opinion that man, in his efforts, if they are sincere, will find the technique that will help him to achieve that which he desires. But it is necessary to be regular in your practice and to learn to close out everything about you. To become, I myself attempt to create a blocking, and this is a mental exercise. Create a wall of blocking which nothing of the outer world can penetrate, you see. Yes, this requires constant repetition, you see, and you become a creator of that which you desire. Questioner: do you build a wall of light around you? Is that what you had reference to? Source: you can visualize it as light, or you can visualize it as a wall of a solid substance if you desire. Something that you can realize within your own consciousness that nothing can penetrate. So you close out all sound, all interference of any kind, for you know. You see, my friends, The mind can do great things. You have great power in this mind. You can create the things that you desire, but you have to exercise this power. You see, my friends, I do not know how to play an organ, so someone starts to teach me. They teach me the fundamentals, and then I must start to practice. And I practice, and I practice, and the more I practice, the more perfect I become. And if I practice enough, and I desire enough to become a good organ player, then soon I become a great organ player, and I play those great, wonderful, beautiful music, you see. So we must desire. We must have the desire. And then we must be willing to work for it, to practice, to develop. You see, we have many powers within us, greater powers than you can imagine, but we must develop them, you see. And as we master one, we become aware of others and we master them. And so we do on and on, but it requires great effort, especially in the beginning. As you gain more confidence in yourself and in your powers to do these things, you see, it becomes easier and easier, for it's like it's natural to do this. Questioner: will our civilization become destroyed if enough people do not work to save it? Source: my friend, if your civilization does not avert it, it will not be averted, for no one is going to do it for you. But first, man must realize what he is facing. You see, many of your people, greater numbers of your people, do not realize what can be done. They know no answer to these things. So they say, well, what can I do? I sit here and let our civilization be destroyed. The powers that man is developing, the science that he is developing, is nothing. Not a thing wrong with that. But man must have the ability to use it in the proper way, you see. And unless he has social and spiritual understanding, he will not have the knowledge to handle these powers. And my friends, nuclear energy is only the beginning. Man is going to develop powers much greater, much more dangerous in the hands of those who do not have the ability to use them. Nuclear will be a toy to other powers that will be developed in the future, providing you do not destroy yourself with what you already have. And your nuclear testing is a greater threat at this time than is a nuclear war. So you see, you are getting into a competitive race of testing. And if this continues, and more of your countries begin to test and test, soon your atmosphere will become so polluted that you will bring chaos in this way, which will be a much slower method of destruction than an atomic or nuclear war would be, for life would be much shorter. Man is beginning to see that he has something here that he can destroy himself with. More people than you realize are beginning to see this, and especially your younger generation. And this is the trouble today among your younger people. They see no security in the future, for they face this destructive situation. They see no future, and youth must visualize a future to have courage to go on. Otherwise, he begins to take the "I don't care" attitude and begins to do things that he should not do or could not do if he felt secure within himself. But as these people who are beginning to realize the danger have the answer, the solution pointed out to them, they begin to think. And when man begins to think intelligently, the answer begins to make sense to him, for he already has realized that there is something that can destroy him, his family, his fellow man, his civilization. And he says, "Why is this?" Most of your people call themselves Christians or some other religious group, or follow what have you. If all of your teachers, if they think at all, will find that this is the only answer, and this is being talked about a great deal too by your leaders of all your people, they must begin to understand. They must come to an understanding. They must understand this country and every country. We must reach out. This is a part of understanding. This is a step forward in the social science. As people become more developed in their social science and their ability to live together, then they realize more and more that there is something yet which is man's spiritual growth. The race problem is a sad situation. But here again, more and more of your people are beginning to realize that the only solution to this problem is to live together. Even in the southern part of your country, the people are beginning to realize this. But there are always those who would reject to the last. But there are going to be many in your civilization who will not be able to accept any of these things. But if even half are able to do this, your civilization can be saved, and the others will gradually fade out of the civilization and will not return to the civilization, but will incarnate in another area where they can express as they desire. Now, my friends, I believe I have taken enough of your time. It has been a great pleasure to spend this time with you. You have all been very gracious in accepting me. I wish to extend to each of you my very deepest blessings, my love. May each of you be able to do a great work in bringing those who are ready into a realization of the solution to the problem of the present civilization upon your planet. Go in peace, my friends. Thursday, June 21st, 1962. Beloved, you have asked that you be given the healing energies. This we have done for you. Receive them as you will. And since you have approached this subject, there are a few words that I should like to say concerning same. If you would receive the healing light, then there are certain necessary steps in order that you might receive the full benefit of such. You need not have the help of others to receive this light. Any of you can do this for yourselves. But there are certain things that you must realize if you are to put this energy to successful use. First, my friends, realize that you live in a state of consciousness, the world of thought, where mind is more powerful than you think or realize. It has been stated by many of you that those whom you deem to be in what you call invisible worlds, or so to speak, invisible to you, it has been stated that they live in a world of thought, that which they think and desire manifests for them. Realize, beloved ones, that you also live in a world of thought or consciousness, and that which you desire can also manifest. If you live in a consciousness of health, then health will manifest for you. If you live in a consciousness of ill health, this will also manifest. Now, perhaps, oft-times, we live in a consciousness that we have become so accustomed to that we do not realize our state of consciousness. Therefore, it is well for one to observe oneself very closely, to look deep into the state of consciousness, study it carefully, and perhaps we shall come into a realization that we are not living in a state of consciousness that we have thought ourselves to be living in. Mind plays a great part in the functioning of the physical, much more than you think or realize. Every thought one thinks has a reaction upon the physical structure. Somewhere within, a reaction takes place, and you can prove this to yourself very definitely if you are observing. Each of you will admit that anger allowed to rise up in the consciousness brings about a terrific action in some of the glands of the physical structure. Fright, fear, shock, each has its effect. Therefore, it behooves us to be very careful of how we allow the mind to react. Resentment, jealousy, prejudices, all of these things bring reaction to the physical. Therefore, if we are to manifest a healthy, strong physical structure, it behooves us then to eliminate all of these things from the mind. Replace them with that which is good, that which is righteous, that which is loving. I should like to give you a little exercise to use in your healing efforts. Choose for yourself a quiet time. Either sit comfortably or lie comfortably. And then with the mind, picture yourself bathed in the pure healing energy. Visualize it, if you will, as a beautiful light, bathing in it as you would in the sunlight. And then see in your mind's eye, visualize as strongly as you can, all resentment, all negativity of any kind being drawn from you. See it leaving your being and being absorbed in this great healing energy. Allow yourself to become completely relaxed and feel all of these things, all of the cares, all of the worries, all of this being completely drained from you. And then see yourself as a lively, radiant, happy being, full of life, full of energy. See yourself as strong. See yourself as being joyful, happy, and see yourself enjoying all men, realizing their greatness also. Realizing that all men, regardless of race, creed, or color, has within him the same as you. That he also is a perfect child of the great Creator, a part, as important a part in the great sea of life as I or anyone. Realize your brotherhood with all mankind and rejoice that it is so. If you will practice this thing and let it become a part of your consciousness, let your consciousness become one that engulfs all good and allows only good to be retained within it. If you will practice this and establish a knowing of these things within your heart, you will become a strong, a healthy, a happy, radiant child of creation, and you will know that all men were created equal. Receive ye now the light, the great healing energy of the universe, created for your good and for the good of all men. Receive ye now also the blessings, the love, and the understanding of our brotherhood. So be it. So be it. Go in peace. Thursday, June 28th, 1962. Greetings in the light, my friends. I am Oxo. Tonight, I should like to bring to your attention some of the happenings that are occurring among the peoples of your earth. Many great issues are arising among the people of earth. A great tension is increasing among those who are in power, for the economic structure of your civilization is becoming weaker by the moment. Great efforts are being made by those in power to avoid collapse. Important conferences among those in power are occurring daily at this time in an attempt to keep in balance, or to keep in operation, I should say, this system. You are going to find many strange things occurring among your people. Many of the things that have been kept undercover are going to be revealed. Many shall be exposed for their ill works, and many of these are going to be in high places, much higher than would seem possible. Through all of these happenings, many issues shall arise among your people, and if these things are to be settled peaceably, without great conflict, a realization is going to need to be brought about in the consciousness of Earth Man. It is going to be necessary for him to realize that he can no longer shift the responsibility of the lack of cooperation and understanding and trust among Earth people to someone else. But he is going to have to realize, each man is going to have to realize, that it is in him or her, that he must be the one to accept the responsibility to become understanding, to be willing to cooperate and to meet his neighbor fairly and squarely, to be willing to give as well as to take. Things that you see happening before you today are only the beginning, for corruptness, greed, lust, and hate can only rule for a limited time, and then the laws begin to react and man begins to pay the penalty. The law in your civilization is beginning to react. I am sure that those of you here who are aware, as all of you are, see these things taking place and realize what is happening. The civilization of Earth Man, if it is to continue and become a great civilization, as it should be, will become this great civilization through the efforts of a minority group who have dedicated themselves to the service of mankind, who, through their dedication, place their service above all else, above any monetary value, material value, or personal desires. For the time will come when these things will no longer have value, for the value of no one thing is greater than its service to mankind. If it has no value as service to the race of man in improving his life, his understanding, his wisdom and knowledge, its value is short-lived. Observe closely the events in the present and the near future, and you will begin to see a pattern. You shall begin to get a picture of what is occurring. And then, beloved ones, it is up to the dedicated ones to act accordingly, to bring about a civilization that can stand on its own feet and face all man, proving to him that the civilization is solid, is good, is wise, is great. These lessons should have been learned long ago. The realization of the purpose of man and his sojourn should have been realized long past. We hope this realization will dawn in enough hearts of your people to avoid making again the climb through evolution. I leave you by extending to you the love, the light, and the understanding of my people. I am Oxel.